Hey guys, welcome back to Defeating Hair Loss. My name is Steve, and I'm here with my good friend now, Bobby D.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me, Steve.
Welcome back, Bobby.
Yes, sir.
Tonight we're going to talk about expectations, hair transplant expectations. Who better to ask, though? One of my patients, Bobby D. So,
Yes, sir.
Bobby, a lot of this is kind of complicated, as easy as it sounds. I mean, you obviously had 2 procedures. You have, I would say, above average donor hair. You had very limited loss, and you're using the medication. So when I have a patient like you that's going and checking all the boxes and absolutely is a compliant patient, we can kind of raise those expectations, right?
Yeah.
But even with that being said, you opted to do 2 procedures, which we
Yeah.
tell everybody anyway,
Yeah.
right? So what were your expectations with all the information that you were getting, all like that internet research, your physician, your doctor, Dr. McGrath, myself, and then, what was your first procedure results? Did it hit your expectations? And kind of explain that to those that are watching.
Yeah, of course. So doing my own research, I had really high expectations, to be honest. I saw David Rizzo's videos, his before and afters, all his procedures, and they looked great. Your hair looked good, came a long way. And so I really had high expectations. And, after, I guess the first couple months I was skeptical. I was texting you all the time, like, Steve, when am I going to see the hair growth and all this? But you kept me, under control and kept my anxiety down. And after, 6 to 8 months, I started seeing results. And, by the year and a half, it looked great. Nobody even knows that I had a hair transplant after the first procedure. And then after that, I was just kind of greedy, having him on YouTube channel and everything. And, very, ego-driven and stuff, and I wanted, more density, and you talked me out of it, kind of. Told me I didn't have to. Yeah, you tried to. My mom tried to talk me out of it, and I just went with it, and I think the results, speak for themselves. So,
Well, you look fantastic.
Thanks.
Congratulations. So obviously, Bobby is what we call an overachiever. He's someone that will not give up. Kind of a different generation, obviously, but I'm also that guy that will never stop until I get as close as possible to what I tried to achieve. Guys that are around my age that started getting hair transplant many years ago, I call them, or I kind of tag them in a category where they want to finish what they started. Most of those guys don't have too much donor hair left, and they have a lot more hair loss because they hadn't had that advantage of the medication. So again, it always comes back to, making sure that we're using the medication, we're protecting the donor hair, we're using the right procedure that's going to give you hair in the future if you need it. Bobby, aka Bobby. My favorite story that I tell is one of Dr. McGrath's advertising. He doesn't do much of that. It's a lot of word of mouth, as we know. But he has a marketing friend that he's been with for years, and his name is Lou. Great guy. And Lou was flying in for his trip to see the clinic and to come on in and sit down and have lunch and talk about how business is and how the results are. Shoot some video of some patient testimonials. He gets in the Uber from Austin Airport, and the Uber driver looks at the address and says, "Wait a second, is that McGrath Medical's address?" And this is a marketing guy. So Lou says, "Yeah, it is." And the driver goes, "I'm a patient." And Lou's like, "Oh my God, that's fantastic. Like, that's great." And the guy had a pretty decent head of hair. So of course, Lou, he's the marketing guy, was like, "Are you happy?" And he goes, "Well, I haven't had my procedure yet, but they put me on this medication and it's really, really been working well for my hair." And then he goes on, he's talking, they talk, and he goes, "Well, but I'm going to go to Spain to have my transplant." And the guy, Lou's like, "What are you talking about? What are you talking about?" And this is a true story. And the guy says, "Well, I've gone through Dr. McGrath's website." Now, this market guy kind of put it together. And, the results are really good. I mean, they're really good. They're really good results. But I see some in there that are kind of like, I guess they could be better. And I see this doctor in Spain, and every single example is like rock star. The moral of the story here is that a lot of cherry picking goes on out there in this industry. And sometimes they're not doing anything wrong. Clinics, doctors, marketing people, they want to choose the top 2%, 1%. I can't imagine how hard my life would be if, with my doctors, and I have other doctors throughout the country, if I kind of steered them in the direction to use nothing but examples of Bobby Dunlap. That's setting us up for failure. I can't look like Bobby Dunlap. My expectations are going to be off. They have to have patients on that website with light hair, weak hair, gray hair, super straight, poker straight hair, white skin, Pacific Rim Asian patients that have that porcelain skin with that jet black hair. That's a really hard procedure to do. We want to see crowns in one procedure where you can still see the scalp. This is all kind of like the limitations of what hair transplant doctors can do. And I'm talking the best in the world. So if you're out there looking around, you're looking at TikTok videos, you're on Instagram, and you're seeing these amazing results. Yes, we want to see those, definitely. But we also want to say to our doctor, hey doc, does everybody look like a rock star? Does everybody have like that Middle Eastern or that Spanish hair? The answer is no. So can I see some examples of those that maybe they had lower expectations based on those variables and the differences, the components that make up a hair transplant patient. So expectations are very important. If you have wrong expectations, no matter how good the work is done, at the end of the 12 months and you're not happy, that's a failure in my book. It's a failure in the doctor's book. It's a failure in Bobby's book. He's here on these videos with me to help you get an idea of what to expect. So my middle name is worst case scenario. If something bad is gonna happen, it's gonna happen to me. And I have lowered my expectations ever since I wanted Sylvester Stallone's or Rocky Balboa or John Travolta, Vinnie Barbarino, whatever actor or name or fictional player. I always wanted all that hair. I never got it, but I'm not crying anymore because I'm doing okay. So over the years, I've had to lower my expectations. When you get out of the gates, yes, you want to find a solid doctor that does stellar work, world-renowned surgery, but keep your expectations at a minimum. And Bobby had those expectations, he just told you real high, but he didn't stop, and that took 2 procedures. So, make sense?
Makes sense to me, Steve.
I love it when it makes sense. Hey, I hope this helps you guys with your expectations. Keep sending in those questions. We're going to address every single one of them and those comments. And don't forget, like and subscribe.